evening. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, August 25th, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced that an Albanian citizen has died resulting from the earthquake in Italy, where the death toll has climbed to at least 241 people. Some sources also say that the family members of the deceased Albanian citizen are injured and are hospitalized. The Albanian embassy in Italy announced that 7 Albanian citizens were injured by the earthquake. 6 of them are in a better condition and will leave Roma Hospital soon, while another has more serious health conditions. However, the official sources say that she is stable and at L'Aquila Hospital. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs expressed its condolences to the family of the victim and their wishes for a fast recovery of the injured. With a controlled explosion, the National Inspectorate for Protection of Territory demolished a 30-meter-high building today as part of the project to construct Tirana's new boulevard. 10 kilograms of C4 explosives were used to demolish the building. The director of the Inspectorate for Protection of Territory declared that the demolition was completed according to plan, and finalizing the demolition of the building will be made through other methods. The Inspectorate's director declared that the National Inspectorate for Protection of Territory will continue to support City Hall in realizing its projects. The explosion did not cause any damage to the surrounding areas. A group of 40 Mujahideen, part of the Iranian opposition Camp of Freedom in Iraq, arrived Wednesday evening in Albania through Rinas Airport. The Albanian and U.S. governments have an agreement to accommodate this Iranian opposition group, and Aura News sources confirm that about 40 people have joined the Mujahideen, which have been sheltered in Albania since January of last year. The group is accommodated in different areas of the capital in some apartments selected by UNHCR organization, which deals specifically with housing and accommodations. Although the Ministry of Interior sources confirmed the arrival of this group to Albania, they did not provide details about their exact number and places of accommodation due to their status as a protected community. Meanwhile, an Iranian news agency has announced that over 100 activists of the Mujahideen Popular Organization, along with their leader, are expected to arrive in Albania. According to the Iranian news agency, they will be transported to Albania on an American passenger aircraft, planned to have no other passengers on board. The vetting law for judges and prosecutors will most likely end up in constitutional court shortly after it is adopted by the Ad Hoc Commission on Judicial Reform. Democratic Party MP and Vice Chairman of the Ad Hoc Commission, Bulik Bashi, declared the law unconstitutional, stating that the Democratic Party will follow any legal path, though it is not known whether the DP MP's declaration will be turned into a concrete lawsuit in the Constitutional Court. Aura News learned that along with the Democratic Party, judges are also not content with the vetting law, claiming it is discriminating. It is learned that the judges are preparing remarks to send to the Ad Hoc Commission concerning the vetting law. Meanwhile, the opposition has listed the articles of the law which it feels is in conflict with the Constitution. Sources within the Democratic Party said that the role of the High Inspectorate of Declaration and Audit of Assets and Conflict of Interest and Directory of Classified Information are in conflict with the new Constitution. Also, the Democrats claim that the vetting law has not detailed the selection procedure of commission's members who will assess judges and prosecutors. Differently from what the new Constitution stipulates, the Democrats claim that the law does not determine deadlines and clear rules in the vetting process, paving the way to a selective process. Also, DP experts claim that many provisions of the vetting law violate human rights and conflict with the Human Rights European Convention. If the DP's remarks are not considered and the vetting law is left as it is, the vetting law may be appealed in the Constitutional Court. This would further complicate the judicial reform's implementation, however, as the Constitutional Court could leave the law in power or reject it, with the second possibility bringing serious consequences for the deadlines to establish the new justice institutions which implement the judicial reform. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dietmar Buschati, is on an official visit to the People's Republic of China at the invitation of his Chinese counterpart. The Minister of Foreign Affairs invited Chinese entrepreneurs to invest in Albania, participating in the opening of the economic forum named the Albania-China Old Friendship New Partnerships, which was held at the Albanian Embassy in Beijing. The aim of the foreign minister's visit to China is to promote Albania as a country that offers economic opportunities for Chinese investors. For this reason, the minister presented some Albanian entrepreneurs at the meetings with Chinese entrepreneurs. During his speech, Minister Buschati emphasized that countries like Albania with small markets have difficulties competing alone, but the Western Balkan countries have agreed to create a connection map for the entire region in the framework of the Berlin process. Buschati stated, despite positive developments, we are aware that for countries like Albania, which have economies with small markets, it is difficult to compete alone in the regional and global markets. In this context, I can tell you that within a very powerful process happening in the Western Balkans, otherwise known as the Berlin process, which is an initiative of Chancellor Merkel, 6 Western Balkan countries are grouping together. Today, we have agreed on a connecting map of the whole region. We clearly know how our region will be by the year 2020 to 2030 in terms of interconnectedness. I am speaking about central corridors of infrastructure that will connect the ports, airports, and key points of the economy in the Western Balkan countries, said the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who invited Chinese entrepreneurs to invest in concluding the Adriatic-Ionian Highway, which is also known as the Blue Corridor. At the end of the meeting, an exhibition was shown at the Albanian Embassy in Beijing, Colors of Albania, as an opportunity to promote Albanian beauty, traditions, and tourist opportunities. Duncan Norman was presented as the new British ambassador to Albania today. During his speech before taking office, the new British ambassador said that the fight against extremism and against organized crime and corruption are the main issues he will focus his work on with the Albanian government. I look forward to working with the Albanian government in the fight against extremism. This issue unfortunately affects many countries in the world, but Albania has a good example to give. Perhaps the biggest challenge is the fight against organized crime. Unfortunately, the UK is affected by many groups of organized crime that operate in different areas, such as the selling of narcotics, illegal immigration, or smuggling. This will be the focus of my first talks with the Albanian government, Norman said. The British ambassador praised the adoption of the judicial reform and called for its implementation. Adoption of the constitutional amendments was a very important moment for Albania, but completing the legal framework and its implementation is paramount, the British ambassador added. Mr. Norman assured that his country's exit from Europe will not harm political and economic relations with other European countries, including Albania. Even though we are leaving the European Union, we are not leaving Europe. After leaving the Union, we will maintain close economic and political relations with EU member states, and we will have close relations with Albania, concluded the British ambassador. Duncan Norman used to work in Albania in 1993, and today, after 23 years, he returns to Albania as the head of British diplomacy to our country. He estimates that the two countries have a consolidated relationship. The Democratic Party's candidate for Dibra's mayor held meetings with citizens of some Dibra villages. The DP candidate emphasized that investing in Dibra is not the Prime Minister's priority, but instead his priority is work that brings revenue for his friends. The DP candidate spoke again about the construction of Dibra's promenade, highlighting that millions of dollars are being spent on the eve of elections, only to make the citizens think that the government is investing. They do everything to take some money for themselves, to buy some votes with the hope that they can make Dibra citizens into fools. But they cannot convince you with the construction of the promenade. The promenade is 800 meters. They could have reconstructed 40 roads with that money, said the DP candidate, adding that Dibra has a great tourist potential which needs investments that will open new jobs and bring well-being for the citizen. Tourism requires big projects, and I have some ideas for them. I have thoughts for reconstructing some roads, Arbery Road among them. The Democratic Party chairman promised me that we will reconstruct the National Road, concluded the DP candidate. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.